In the previous lesson, you set up some routes in this simple application, such as a reviews route and an about me route. But so far, the only way that a user has to navigate around the page is by typing directly into the URL bar, which is not a very good user experience. So in this video, I'll show you how to set up some nav links. We're going to set up a link to our reviews page that'll link from the dashboard to the reviews route, and we'll also set up some nav links in the header. The component we'll use is the link component, and you can just go ahead and import that into the dashboard component. Make sure to put the curly braces around it and import it from React Router DOM. And its usage, well, its usage is actually rather similar to an href, so to an anchor tag rather. Let me just start like this as a bit of an example. So here you would, this is what an anchor tag would look like. But for a link tag, well, a link component, you would change the A to link, and instead of an href, you use a to attribute. And the nice thing here is that it will make the links relative to the root of the website. So here is our link to the reviews page. And that's really all there is to it there. Let's go to the browser. Here we are. We click the link and we go to the page. That's great. Now there's the navlink component. So the navlink component is actually really, it's basically the same as the link component, but there is at least one bonus feature where you can easily control you can easily vary its styles based on whether it is active or not. And to start with, what we'll do is we'll set up this navbar component, which we need to create. So I will create, I'll put it in a folder, src/component/navbar, and then do navbar.jsx. And we're going to need to import the navlink component from React Router DOM. And we'll import the style sheet that we're going to create in a moment. In fact, we can just create that now. And then we need a basic functional component. Note that I am being consistent with the capitalization, which is important. And we're going to need nav.menu, nav with class name menu. Then inside we're going to need the nav links. And see, it's very, very similar to what we did before with the link tags. The only difference is it's called navlink instead of link, and that's the only difference. And we're applying a class name, but you could certainly apply class names to this element as well, no problem. But I'll show you the fancy feature of navlink in a moment. But now let's just add these other nav links. And before moving on, well, okay, export default navbar. Export default navbar. Oops. And we'll need to make use of this in our app component. So we can import you know what, we're going to be using this in the header now, aren't we? Yep, we're going to be using it in the header, so we don't need to import it into app.jsx. We need to import it into header. and we're just going to make use of it right below the logo. Let's take a look at how it looks. All right, it's unstyled, of course, but here we have our links, and if we click them, they work. They take us to the correct locations. So then what else remains to do? We need to add this CSS to our navbar.css file. Now they're looking much better, and they still work. But so far, it's just these. There's no difference between this and a link tag. In fact, what we could even just swap out these nav links for link, and it would be exactly the same. So why are we using navlink? We'll get to that next. Custom styles for active links. That's why. And yes, there are other ways that you could manage this, just with pure CSS and pseudo classes, but this is a nice convenient way to set up different styles if a link is active or not. Meaning if you are on that particular review page. So that particular route. Yes. All right, so the way that it works is we can pass a function to the class name of a nav link. And so here we need const custom class name equals. So we can pass a function to the class name, and we'll do the same thing for these others. And this function accepts an object as an argument, and that object has an isActive property, which if the link is active, it will be true, and if not, it will be false. So then we can simply return and return the appropriate class. So the example given returns menu link always, but if isActive is true, then we're going to add the menu link active class, menu link active, with a space in front of it. Otherwise, these would just be stuck on to each other. And if not, we just add an empty string. So what this will do is, if isActive is true, you'll get menu link and menu link active. If it's not true, you'll just get menu link. And note one difference here. I have a return statement here because I am using curly braces. I just happened to notice this. There's no real reason for this. You could do it like this. If the curly braces aren't there and you just have a single line of code, the return statement is optional. I generally prefer this syntax if there's this much code involved. But anyway. Okay, so let's take a look. See the different style? It's a slightly different, a darker shade of blue. Click on that, click on that. Very nice. Nice and convenient. And if we click here, it changes the active style. Now we have arrived at the practice task. Again, I recommend that you give this a try on your own before watching the rest of this video. But now let me complete the practice task. So the code has been provided in an archive. So we can download it and extract it. Of course, if you're on a different operating system, I'm on Linux, the way that you extract it will be a little bit different. And actually, let me create a directory, src/components/about us. And in case you're wondering, the difference here, about us is going to be like about the company, basically, will be the idea, whereas about me will be about the specific author, I believe. There we have the files. And what we need to do is add a new route to this about us component and add a new nav link to the nav bar. Okay, well, this shouldn't be too difficult, right? We need another route. We can just copy and paste it and tweak the endpoint end component. And of course, we need to import the new component. Let's take a look inside this new component here, actually. There's styles. Here's this. All right, yeah, more info about the website as opposed to the author. And then the final thing we should need to do is go to the navbar component and add a new nav link. Oops. And again, copying and pasting it is a good option. Now, if we go to the browser, there's our About Us page, and we are done.